So a couple of podcasts ago, we talked about what's got really slipped under the rug, at least for me anyway. I haven't really seen it get picked up, was the defensive line and the rotation that we have behind the starters. And I think the Vikings have done a really good job. And we're talking about Stephen Weatherly, Hercules Mataafa, and Ifeadi Odenigbo. Don't let him go this time around. So that way they consistently have fresh legs to bring consistent pressure from the defensive line. That's something that's really positive to look forward to that really probably isn't talked about all that much. Now something else, another domino effect that's happening for your Minnesota Vikings on the opposite side of the table, more so concerning and damn near has me ready to panic, is the cornerback group. And I thought with Mike Zimmer being the head coach of your Vikings team ever since he got here in 2014, we've never had issues with the cornerback group whatsoever. I never thought that I'd be saying this in my life, and this is more so out of his control. This is something that he can't even help. This is just something that he has to deal with, unfortunately, is the cornerback group. So let's start with the first piece of the domino before the rest of the domino effect falls. Mike Hughes. So last year against the Arizona Cardinals, Mike Hughes, he tears his ACL. He misses the rest of the season. And perhaps, I don't know, maybe I got caught up in this too, to where technology is so great and we've seen athletes come back all across sports. They come back from ACL tears. We witnessed Adrian Peterson come back, and if I'm not mistaken, he led the league in rushing that following year. He was a beast. He almost beat Earl Campbell's rushing record in a season. He almost did it. And maybe we got spoiled in it, and I got caught up in that too, and I should know better. But, okay, he'll come back the start of 2019, but right now it looks like that he's not. For all we know, based on what I've seen, he hasn't practiced at all in OTAs, and it's reported that the earliest that you can expect, or at least the Vikings are expecting Mike Hughes to return, is best case scenario, late July. So we're essentially talking about the start of training camp. That's the best case scenario. Even still, if he was going to miss more time than that, which is certainly a possibility, I was thinking at the time, this was months ago, that, okay, we've got an insurance policy. Xavier, because now we know Rhodes and Waynes, it was talked about maybe one of them will get traded. There was a lot of trade rumors going around. Now we know, at least for right now, certainly unless something dynamic happens, they're going to both be on the roster, both Rhodes and Waynes. So the cornerback depth that I was thinking as far as insurance is concerned, Rhodes, Waynes, Mac Alexander, Holton Hill, and Jaron Kearse as the fifth cornerback, worst case scenario, an emergency plug-in corner. But now, with Holton Hill being suspended for the first 4 games of the season after testing positive for performance-enhancing drugs, now that limits us to what we have left is Xavier Rhodes, who he's either given up penalties, at least as of 2018. Now, if he can get back to 2017 or at least anywhere close to that, I'm fine with that. But the last that we saw of Xavier Rhodes, he was either giving up penalties, giving up receptions, or reaching down after he got beat and then conveniently just pulling his leg. And look, man, I don't care. I'm just going to say it. I just think it's way too convenient that damn near every time this dude gets beat, oh, my leg hurts. He goes out like Paul Pierce for half a play, and then he comes back. I'm better than ever, damn it. So we're left with him. You'll take whatever you can get from him. Trey Waynes, I know what I'm going to get from him. And just like Kai Forbath, what's really cool about Trey Waynes is that he can whiff on a play, and he still keeps his mind in the game to where he'll make a play the very next play after that. So he stays tough. And his mental toughness, the heart, and this gets talked about a lot. I think it's almost cliche. Oh, the heart, the passion he plays with on the field. This dude, Trey Waynes, plays with a lot of heart, man. He needs to be appreciated a lot more than what I think that he is right now in Vikings Nation. So you got Rhodes, you got Waynes, Mac Alexander, and what's really cool about him is everything else he offers besides covering. So when it comes to covering, he's not bad, but everything else he offers more so as a Swiss Army knife. I'm talking about playing in the second level, almost like a linebacker, making tackles, his speed to cover sideline to sideline, whoever is carrying the ball from the line of scrimmage, rushing the passer. Really, really, really the closest thing to Antoine Winfield that we've seen since he's been on the Minnesota Vikings team as of last year. It's really the closest that we've seen of Antoine Winfield. Now with Mac Alexander, the de facto number 3. So the first 4 games of the season that Holton Hill is going to miss. Falcons at Packers, which that's crazy because we played at Lambeau Field last year in week 2. We're doing the same thing this year. The Oakland Raiders week 3 at home, and then at Soldier Field against the Chicago Bears in week 4. That's the first 4 games of the season. And so those are the first 4 games that he's going to miss. Now, Mac Alexander, you can't have him be that Swiss Army knife corner. He now has to be a pure cornerback now as the de facto number 3 corner. And Jaron Kearse, who is really the emergency plug-in for the 5th cornerback spot, but certainly can play safety in some cases if you're doing 3 safety sets or anything like that. Now he's going to have to be the 4th cornerback on dime packages. So now with Holton Hill, Mike Hughes, there's nothing you can do about it. He tore his ACL. Hopefully he gets a speedy recovery. Holton Hill, I'll even give him the benefit of the doubt. He's super young. He may have been naive. He may not have been sure what he was putting in his body. But let this be a lesson to all the players out there, especially Holton Hill. I don't care if you're rolling up to your local GNC trying to get a protein shake. Check the ingredients. I don't care if you're going to your local grocery store and you're getting a box of cereal. Check the back for the nutrition facts, because all of a sudden, you may not realize it, with all the flavors of cereal brands out there, you may end up eating a bowl of hydroxycut flavored Cheerios. And oh man, I wasn't expecting this. And man, I'm a little bit faster and I'm a little bit thinner than I thought I was. I'm a lot more leaner. Oh, it's hydroxycut. I don't know if that's banned from the NFL, but I'm just saying, man, you can't be too careful when it comes to this stuff. So now, unfortunately, with Holton Hill getting suspended, the insurance policy is gone. It's gone now. Now the focus is shifting back to Mike Hughes saying, man, hopefully this dude is going to be ready to go. And unfortunately, he didn't get to practice in OTA, so now he's going to have a learning curve or I guess get caught back up to speed type of getting himself acclimated again curve. This kind of reminds me of Pat Elflein last year. I took this for granted so much because I'm not mistaken, he didn't practice at all either. He got put on the PUP list. He missed all of the preseason, and I don't think he came back until, I could be wrong about this. This is just off the top of the dome. I'm kind of freestyling here, but this was like week 2, week 3, or week 4. One of those games. And he really struggled. We're talking about, again, same like Mike Hughes and even Holton Hill to some degree, a second-year player that's going to miss valuable time in the regular season to where he's going to have to get caught back up to speed in regular season games going up against dudes that are trying to blow the top off of you to basically go for a deep play on you every single time. And it's really not fair that these expectations are going to, but now it's like, man, hopefully Mike Hughes doesn't miss a certain amount of time. And Holton Hill, that's the same thing. He's practicing. He's going to miss the first 4 games. But then when he comes back against the New York Giants at New York Giants, are they playing at the Met? I forgot what stadium they're playing at in Jersey. But when he comes back, thankfully Odell Beckham Jr. isn't there anymore. But who knows? He's going to take some time, possibly. Even though he's going to come back in the 5th game against the Giants, don't necessarily expect him to pick up where he left off last year, where I was like, man, for me personally, I thought Holton Hill was the best pure cover corner the Vikings had on the roster last year. I thought Mackenzie Alexander was the better overall playmaking cornerback, but Holton Hill, to me, was the best pure cover cornerback last year. So now what you have, I don't know, man. Now, it's concerning. It's something to think about, but I think the things that can really slow down any damage from that is the defensive line. So we talked about that again, the starters and the depth that we have for that, because as long as you're bringing consistent pressure up front, it doesn't matter. It helps the job of the secondary a lot easier. And then the safeties. We've got a great 1-2 punch at safety with Harrison Smith and Anthony Harris, to where suddenly you can, no matter what it is, where you want to switch up Harrison Smith and have him come up to the line of scrimmage, you can do the same thing with Harrison Smith with Anthony Harris. You can do that. Pick your poison either or. They're going to help out our cornerbacks a lot. So it's something to think about. I hope that they come back healthy, ready to go. But this is something that's a little bit concerning. I'm damn near ready to panic. But you know what? Mike Zimmer, he's a hell of a cornerback coach, and we'll see what happens. So anyway, we do this 3 times a week. Mediokr Best Sports Podcast with Realistic Randy. The next podcast will be on Saturday. You can find that on my personal YouTube page, Realistic Randy. Just search Realistic Randy. You'll find it there. You can find me on Twitter at Realistic_Randy. Facebook at Realistic Randy, Facebook at Realistic Randy. Tongue twisted there. My apologies. We will see you on Saturday.